I just had to talk about this film. I just watched it. The film is called Cry Wolf, unrated. Unrated, it might as well have just been rated PG-13. There's nothing in here that warrants an unrated. Whatever gore or whatever's noticeably fake. It's a PG-13 film. It doesn't deserve the unrated whatever. I don't care. This is Cry Wolf. Full screen. You'll lie, you'll die. I know I sound like I actually hated this film, but I'm going to surprise you and say that I enjoyed it far more than the critics did. But I also didn't enjoy it as well, and there's a reason why this is in the Rant files, and not in the dollar bin, because I did find this in a dollar bin. I found it in a dollar bin. I found it in a used DVD dollar bin, so I don't know if that counts, because the other dollar store dollar bin films were brand new dollar films, so it makes more sense to say that those films are true dollar movies, while these were not. But whatever. Semantics. I told you I was going to go through more of these types of films, and through the semantics clause. We look at the back of the cover. It's fine. It's got a decent budget of $1 million. A simple $1 million. It also stars Jared Padalecki before he signed on for the Supernatural stuff. I believe Supernatural came in 2006. Don't quote me on that. This is a 2005 film. It released in 2005. So actually it would be filmed in, say, perhaps in 2004. So there you go. Anyways, Rogue Pictures, Cry Wolf. What happens in this movie, and why do I have things to say about it? This is a college film. This is one of those films you would see in your college years. Everybody in here is pretty much college age. It stars a foreign student with an noticeably English accent, named Owen, who has arrived to this new college because he was transferred for alleged criminal activities from his previous school that he was not guilty of. I'm not going to get into that, but let's just say he's got a record, and his professors don't necessarily like him all that much. John Bon Jovi's in this movie. You know, the singer who did Wanted Dead or Alive. That John Bon Jovi. Oh yes. He's in Cry Wolf. Fantastic. So, what can I say about Cry Wolf is the name of the game that Owen and his roommate end up playing. You see, Owen meets this girl named Dodger, and Dodger introduces him to her other friends. Her other friends involving Owen and his roommate's name being Tom, played by Jared Padalecki. And they all go to this church on campus in the middle of the night to play a game called Cry Wolf. Cry Wolf, basically, let's say, you have a round table discussion of, say, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 friends. One of them is going to be the wolf. The wolf is basically a liar, and the job of the wolf is to ensure that he is the last one remaining in this whole game of deception. Each one of these guys are trying to defend themselves against allegations that the wolf or somebody else might be making. Nobody knows who the wolf is. Everybody else is a sheep. So nobody knows who is lying or who isn't. So somebody who may not be lying may call out somebody who is also not lying on a story that this person may have said, and if enough people vote that this person is a liar, they lift up their shirt and reveal that they are not marked. But if you got voted by enough people to have been called a liar, you get kicked out of the game. And you keep going through this conversation game, marking one out by the other. And the goal is to make sure that the wolf stays in. And when the wolf wins the whole conversation game, they win the money in the pot. He gets to walk away with it. But if you vote the wolf off, if the wolf gets voted off before all the sheep do, then they get their money back. Everybody gets their money back and they walk off. Nobody knows who is the wolf. But the people who aren't the wolf know that they're not the wolf. But everybody else doesn't know that they aren't either. See, the game of deception and trying to come across as the truth, it's all about your words. And I liked that idea, and I think there's a video game that's pretty popular, perhaps you've heard of it, that they have released within the past decade or so, called Among Us, which is kind of like this, in a way, kind of like the Cry Wolf conversation game. But this came first, because, it's a conversation game. You could do this without a computer and all that stuff. So they play a game of Cry Wolf, and Owen, the new character, the new guy to the group, was the wolf, marked by Dodger, who is the shepherd character. And so Owen manages to convince everybody else that he's not the wolf and he's the last one left, and he gets to take the money away, right? Everybody else goes home, pretty disgruntled about losing. And this being a typical college film, we have a lot of college kids playing pranks on one another. One is played on Owen. He's late for class. John Bon Jovi's plays a college professor, and he's pretty chill about Owen being late. He says, if you're late on your first week, if that's the only thing, then you've got lucky. So he was pretty chill about it, And then on the next day, Dodger announces that they're not going to be playing Cry Wolf anymore because it's kind of boring, mainly because of Owen. Because he's the new guy, he gets to analyze each of these guys. He knows that these guys know each other all too well, and he knows everybody's tells that he can always beat them every single time. So Dodger decides to play a new game where they release a story about a serial killer who killed this recent girl on campus called named Becky, who died before the story began. Dodger decides to say everybody should make a story about that. They should write up a very fantastical serial killer story about something that happened prior to this, and that this guy is a repeat serial killer moving from college campus to campus to campus, and that this is the next campus he's visiting, and that the first one is just the testing the waters, and then he's going to kill again on the night of the full moon and all that crap, right? So they compose a fantastical email story, and Owen sends it under his school username. This obviously garners the attention of John Bon Jovi, and John Bon Jovi says, you shouldn't have done that, and Owen says, you're right, it's just a joke, but we're just having fun. And John Bon Jovi says, you probably shouldn't have too much fun here, considering your record. If you get into enough fun, you'll find yourself out of here. Keep that in mind. So the story gets out, everybody's sharing it everywhere, it goes viral. And then Owen starts getting emails from somebody calling themselves the Wolf. So Owen starts freaking out, and he starts thinking, oh, it must be somebody else that I know, because only the people I know about this story and know that it's fake, and they're probably trying to fuck with me. Because Owen is very mistrusting of these guys, because these guys are all terrible, terrible, terrible people. They are all terrible people. So let's go over these other characters, aside from Owen. We have Dodger. She's a manipulator. She is the type of person who can keep a perfect poker face. But she's always got that poker face on 24/7. She can mimic an emotion, fake any emotion. She's a perfect actor. She's playing actorception. She is an actress playing an actress who knows how to play the room to her power. They call her the Queen. Then we have Tom. He is the prankster. He's the jokester. He's pretty kind to Owen, but he's not very trusting either. He's not very trusting of anybody, really. He likes to have fun. He likes to play around. He's Randall's best friend. We move on to Randall. Randall is, I like having a visual aid here, so let's go back to that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's go back to that round table. We've discussed Owen. We've discussed Tom. Now we're on to Randall. Oh, we also discussed Dodger. So now we're on to Randall. Randall here is, we don't really see too much of him because he vanishes pretty much part way through the first act of the film, and throughout the third and the second and third act he's not there. But from what little we see, he's pretty much an asshole. He's just the asshole. So obviously he's the guy everybody suspects is behind what's about to happen. And then we have the dude and his girlfriend. The dude and his girlfriend, that's basically what they're known as. They're a couple in this group. They're just the couple. They have no other defining personality traits. Well, let's say the guy's girlfriend is pretty ditzy and an airhead, and this guy is pretty much a brick wall. He's like a Fred Jones type of character. He has no personality traits at all outside of dating a ditzy airhead. And then we have the bookworm girl. The bookworm girl does not like Tom. That's pretty much her entire character. She doesn't like Tom. Oh, and she also doesn't like Dodger. So she doesn't like Tom and Dodger, but she's fine with everybody else. But she's very, very, very bookish and nerdy and snobbish and all that other stuff. And then we have the token nerdy, large, portly kid that everybody makes fun of. Everybody makes fun of him. And this guy notices that everybody makes fun of him, so he ends up ruling him out during the Cry Wolf gang because of all this other stuff. He finds his towel. He's pretty obvious in his towel. He drinks a lot. He gets nervous. That's basically all his character. He's pretty much vanished during the second act and throughout most of the third act as well. Who else? Is there anybody else that was part of this gang? No, I think I've got everybody. The reason why I have to tell you about each one of these characters is because these guys, they formed the idea that they were going to prank the school, but the joke ended up turning inwards, and they're still squabbling to each other, distrusting everything that everybody's saying, trying to figure out everything. And Dodger over here is the mastermind that is playing everybody against everybody. She is playing everybody against everything. But eventually, as the pieces of the chessboard start to mark off, Randall disappears. The portly kid's gone. As the body count rises, all eyes are starting to look towards poor Owen. And then, the night of the Halloween party, a couple of the characters decide to get back at Owen for pranks that they think that he pulled on him. Tom and Owen are roommates. Their room gets trashed, but only Tom's stuff gets broken. Tom ends up blaming Owen for that. So then, Tom and the girlfriend character over here decide to play a prank on poor Owen at the same time. She wants to prove that a girl can be the serial killer, because everybody else just thought that the serial killer has to be a dude. He has to be a dude. But the girl character here, she says that what if the serial killer could be a dude? So she dresses up as the killer here and chases Owen around. And Tom dresses up as the killer in another location and chases Tom around. So Tom chases Owen around. So now Owen's thinking there's multiple people dressed as the killer and there's so much crap going on. Yada yada yada. Look, does that look confusing to you? It should. That's how everything's mishmashing about. But I followed it enough. I was able to keep up. So that's how many circles do we have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's make another circle here because that's getting too muddy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we have a group here. We have Dodger here, who's playing Owen here like a fiddle. And then Owen ends up realizing he's got the hots for Dodger. He follows Dodger after she says she has to go somewhere after turning him off to a dinner date. So Owen follows her to where she was going to go and finds that she is making out with John Bon Jovi. John Bon Jovi is a teacher. He's a professor. He's a big adult, big man, and it's against school policies for the professors to date the students. He could get fired and she could get expelled if that news ever brought out. So now he has something over these two characters. But he's pretty hurt about it because he likes Dodger. He likes Dodger, but Dodger is just using him. And she might even be using him, but I don't think so. Because the way he saw those two together, he thought that she really was coming on to him pretty hard. The following day, the student body decides to keep everybody here because there's some sort of spring break going on, but they don't want to know what's going on, why there was an incident the following night with multiple people, Tom and the girlfriend over here dressing as the wolf killer, chasing poor Owen around. They want to know why that was going on. So they keep them back to investigate over the weekend what's going on. And then the following night, Owen figures something out. He's connecting all the dots. And he calls everybody who is still around. The portly kid's not around it. Randall's missing. He thinks that the Randall is dead. He thinks Randall is dead because he's been calling up on where Randall said he was going to go, and Randall wasn't there. Randall's girlfriend said that he had never shown up. So there's something spooky around. So he calls the remaining people to the church chapel place, their meetup place, and he says that he's going to finish the game, and he outs everybody. Tom says that it was him chasing Owen around because he thought Owen had messed up their room and his stuff. But it was actually the boyfriend character here who had messed up the dorm room looking for something that the girlfriend over here thought that she had lost. So the boyfriend and the girlfriend trashed the dorm room and most of Tom's stuff because they think that Tom was holding on to something that the girlfriend had lost. So now Tom ends up confessing that he had chased Owen around to get him back for the dorm room smashing that he thought that he did. So everybody's doubting everybody. Nobody's telling the truth. But tonight everybody's telling the truth. Dodger is walking away from this, though. She says that everybody fell for this except for her, and she's walking away, and then he reveals that he saw that these two, Dodger and John Bon Jovi, were making out. He says that he saw them together, and now everybody else knows. And she says that she went there to break up with John Bon Jovi, and she's pretty sad about it. And John Bon Jovi tried to push himself onto her, but she tried to push him away. So her story is holding for now. He's faltering a little bit, but he's still a little bit suspicious. And then everybody starts to leave, but then they notice that there's blood splatters. There's 3 people left in the chapel: Tom, Nerdy Girl, and Owen. Tom, Nerdy Girl, and Owen decide... Oh, and the boyfriend. So there's 3 people at the chapel still. 4 people at the chapel still. The girlfriend decided not to go to the chapel because she's pretty scared about getting expelled. Because, you know, she almost got... She was chasing a guy with a fake knife. And then the police got involved in all this stuff. So she's staying quiet for now. So the 4 of them are at the chapel right now. And they get a call from the girlfriend to the boyfriend, and then she sends him a suggestive picture because, you know, they're dating, that's what you do. And behind the selfie of this girl is a silhouette of somebody coming up on her. So now he's freaking out, running over to the girlfriend. And so Tom and the Nerdy Girl and Owen find the body of Randall. They assume, well, Owen assumes that Randall is dead. They assume that Randall is dead. And so Tom and Nerdy Girl flee to Tom's car because they're planning to get out of Dodge. They're going to drive away. Now, we don't know what's up with the portly kid right now. We don't know what's going on with him at all yet. And so now Owen's racing to find Dodger because he still likes her for some reason. He's racing to find Dodger. He's racing to get to her. He's racing to keep her safe. But then everybody starts dropping. The boyfriend He sees the boyfriend get killed. He sees that the girlfriend gets killed. He's chasing after Dodger and he sees that the killer ends up killing Dodger as well. So that's everybody except Portly Kid and Tom and the Nerdy Girl. Tom and the Nerdy Girl are in Tom's car, and they drive away quickly. They drive away, leaving Owen there. He's left there alone until he sees that there's somebody in the Dr. John Bon Jovi's office. So he goes to John Bon Jovi's office to figure out what's going on, and then John Bon Jovi shows up, and Owen finds a gun in John Bon Jovi's drawer. And a previous call with Dodger she ended up telling him to look in that same drawer for car keys, but there was a gun in there instead. Owen picks up the gun and points it at Dr. John Bon Jovi and says that you're the killer. You're the one who's been doing this entire time. And John Bon Jovi says, "Who told you that? Did Dodger tell you that?" And then they fight, and then Owen ends up shooting John Bon Jovi. Now John Bon Jovi's dead, and Owen is arrested for murder. And while Owen's being dragged away to the police car, he realized that Dodger's alive. Tom and the Nerdy Girl are around. Randall is alive. The Portly Kid was in the wolf costume, scaring the girlfriend character, and he got the boyfriend rolled up into it as well. Everybody was in on this. They were trying to prank the girlfriend and Owen for being responsible for keeping them here, for not being able to go on their little party gallivanting or whatever. So now Owen is incarcerated in prison. His father flies down and says that, "Owen, they found the gun. The gun that you used to kill that man was the same gun used to kill that poor girl. And now they think that you ended up killing a rumored killer. So they're going to drop the charges and make it self-defense. Everything's going to go away and you're going to be fine." And he's all happy about that, but now the lights are going off in his head. Is that gun the same gun that killed that poor girl? Well, then, if John Bon Jovi's gun killed that poor girl, but John Bon Jovi didn't recognize the gun, he said, "Where did you get that gun?" And then he said, "I got it in your desk," and he seemed genuinely confused about that. And then he mentions, "Did Dodger tell you that story?" So now Owen's figuring it out. These two are an item, Dodger and John Bon Jovi. But then John Bon Jovi starts dating Becky over here, and Dodger doesn't like that. So Dodger ends up killing Becky. And then she was going to have Owen kill Dr. John Bon Jovi through an elaborate scheme involving 6 other idiots. These two are part of that group of 8, right? So they involve 6 other idiots in on this plan. Everybody's terrible here, except for poor little Owen. These 6 people are all terrible in their own little way, own little special way. Nerdy Girl's too pompous. Boyfriend's too unnoticeable of anything. He treats the girlfriend too dumb, but the girlfriend's too dumb. Tom's too jockish. Randall's an asshole. And the Portly Kid just wants to be part of the fun. He wants to be part of the group. And I guess you could say he's not necessarily a terrible person, but he's very manipulative, naive. That's the word. He's very naive. So Dodger ends up roping all of these people in on a grand scheme, all to get Owen to kill Dr. John Bon Jovi and make her killing of Becky look like Dr. John Bon Jovi did it. She had planned this entire story upon their first meeting at the start of the film. This character's a genius! But Owen is also pretty smart. He just figured everything out too late. He ends up telling her exactly this whole plan. He says that he knows what she did. And she said, "Who would believe you if that were true?" And then she walks out. And then the film ends, because she never gets caught. Dr. John Bon Jovi is the one that everybody thinks is a killer, and he's gone now. And Owen gets to walk free. He might have a record of community service or whatever, but the charges of murder have completely been dropped because John Bon Jovi is the rumored killer. I like that idea, I guess. It's very, very, very mishmash, you know? It's full of twists. You never know who's gonna do what in this film. You never know who's gonna be responsible for what, who's guilty of what, who's actually dead, who isn't dead. You don't know. As you're watching through this film, you don't know, and I like that idea. That you're always on your toes, figuring this out, figuring this mystery out with Owen, trying to figure out who's doing what, who's deceiving who, is this guy really dead, is this guy telling the truth. You're going through that, because at the start of the film, we learned what the game of Cry Wolf is. Once we learned what the game of Cry Wolf is, we know that is the Chekhov gun. That's the Chekhov gun. The game, Cry Wolf. The title, Cry Wolf. That is the Chekhov's gun. The killer is completely fabricated. This outfit, it's fabricated. The real killer was Dodger all along. In plain sight. There's no elaborate makeup. There's no fantastical outfit. There's no burn marks on the face. There's no mutilations. Nothing. This is just a normal-looking girl who is incredibly smart at getting away with things. And it almost looks believable that she could get away with this. But, you know, a lot of this stuff had to happen through chance, and she had to have 6 idiot friends to go along with this, playing the exact same pranks in the exact same order in order for this to happen. But it all just fell into place for her. The dominoes fell where they did, precisely where she thought that they would, and she got away with murder. And she had Owen kill the only guy who could have outed her for that. She gets to go free. And Owen, even if he tells everybody what's going on, who'd believe him? He is the boy who cried wolf. Fantastic. Fantastic. And this is 30 minutes long, so you could tell why it's in the Rant files. The Dollar Bin films, videos, they are not supposed to be almost 30 minutes long. Some of them might get 30 minutes, but if you could tell how complicated this is, you could figure out why, to the casual film goer, they'd not necessarily enjoy it all that much. All of these twists and turns feel needlessly complicated. Everybody's tricking everybody. You never know who's being what. Is the tension real? Is any of this real? But then I think that's the point. That nothing is real. Everything is a lie. Everything is being fabricated. And I think that's the point. Owen figures out the truths, but since everybody's lying, his truths are being viewed as lies because everybody's crying wolf, like the story of the boy who cried wolf. There's a boy in the fields tending the sheep, and he cries wolf. All of the farm hands come out saying, "Where's the wolf? Where's the wolf?" And the boy just laughs at them, saying he pranked them. The next day, the boy does it again, crying, "There's a wolf in the fields, there's a wolf in the fields." The second time, the villagers come out. Some of them didn't come out because they said that was the same kid, but most of them do. Most of the villagers come out saying, "Where's the wolf? Where's the wolf?" And the kid says, "Ha ha ha, I got you again." The third night, the wolf does come, and he is killing the sheep. The boy shouts, "There's a wolf, there's a wolf," and nobody comes. Nobody comes. Because he told one too many lies, and now nobody believes him. They turn that story on its head here. Owen's shouting one big lie, the wolf cry story, to the whole school. But then afterwards, he starts telling the truth. But because of that story that he told through the email, viral email, Nobody's believing him. The only one who's even close to believing him is Jon Bon Jovi, but he's a little bit dead right now. Most of the characters are not likable at all. Owen and Dr. Jon Bon Jovi are probably the only likable characters. Everybody else is very hateable. Everybody is very hateable in this movie. You feel sorry for Owen for being roped into these assholes and their game of cry wolf, which is a game of deception. Everybody's lying to each other, and that's the point of the game, and it basically encourages deceitfulness with your best friends. I can understand how you would hate that. I'd hate that. I hate this game of cry wolf. I hate it. I hate it. But that's it. That's Cry Wolf. Did the dollar beat me, or did I beat the dollar? Or did the movie beat the dollar? The movie did beat the dollar. It was worth a 31-minute rant about this film. And I have to take another minute to explain rants. Rants don't always mean bad things. Rants just generally mean going off on a tirade about something. I'm just going off about something. But I will look up the exact definition to make sure I'm not talking out my ass here. 2 seconds. Welcome back. I knew I was right. To rant is to speak or shout at length in a wild and passionate way. Well, I guess you could say that this was 31 minutes of a rant. I don't necessarily hate this film. I like it a lot. I would not give it a failing rank. I would not say that the dollar beat me, because I'd say if you found this in a dollar bin somewhere for $1, I'd say it's worth getting. But it's even more worth watching for free on streaming if you can find it on streaming. Otherwise, it's worth getting for $1 in a dollar bin somewhere to watch it. Jared Padalecki's very enjoyable here, Jon Bon Jovi's very enjoyable here, and the poor character of Owen is fine. He's passable, he's very good. And Owen's character is the avatar character, the audience avatar character. You are following Owen through the entire story. Everybody else is just acting on their own. You don't get to see their cutscenes or whatever. You're always following Owen. You only know what Owen knows. And that's why all of the tension and all of the deceit works, is because you're not seeing what everybody else is doing. You're only seeing Owen. You only get to know Owen's side of the story. So Owen's suspicions and Owen's jumping to conclusions seem to make sense to you because you're only following him. So when he suspects that Tom might be being the wolf with sending him text messages on the computer, you might begin to say, hey, that makes a little bit of sense. That makes a little bit of sense. I think that might be correct. Then Tom walks in saying, oh, I haven't been doing that. And you go like, okay, who else might it be? Could it be Dodger? And then Tom and Owen suspect that it might be Dodger. So they go after her next to figure out, and all of that stuff just works. I wouldn't say that this movie's amazing, though. It's not a 10 out of 10, it's not a 9 out of 10. It's not even an 8 out of 10. But I will give it a 7 out of 10. I enjoyed it. I really did. It's a movie that I probably might even go back to every now and then. Be imaginative, everybody. Be imaginative like this story, like these full of twists and turns and deceit. That's awesome. That's the stuff that you gotta get the big brain to look at it all through. But I doubt anybody's gonna spend 34 minutes watching this. But if you've made it to the end here, good on you.